Have you ever felt that whenever you are learning about yourself, maybe you learned something new and it gave you some validation? Maybe it helped you to know more about yourself in a way that kind of gave you a reason for why you do think or act the way you do. These things can be so helpful, and you'll find many episodes in this podcast that will help you with those things. Whether it's the Enneagram or learning your tendency for motivation, or maybe even learning about your money blocks and limiting beliefs and all of those things. But another thing that can happen is that you can actually move past reasons for why you are the way you are and straight into excuses. In today's episode, we're going to break free from the excuses and look at the difference between reasons and excuses and how you can take responsibility for action and really just kind of push through those pointing fingers and the limiting beliefs that can happen when you use your reason as an excuse. All right, let's go. Welcome back to Control the Chaos Mama podcast, where we do life and launch strategy for ADHD entrepreneurs, creative rebels, and overwhelmed moms. This is the podcast for you if you feel like you have all the ideas and you are lacking follow through. You need to gain some follow through and maybe some belief, some confidence, and this is the place. All right, let's go. So yes, like I mentioned before, today we're going to talk all about reasons versus excuse. We're going to talk about how to kind of direct it to where it can be a positive thing. In all transparency, I have been in a total funk. And yes, I'm so grateful for cycle syncing because I know that it's because my energy is low. That is a reason. It is not an excuse for the way I've been, honestly. And so I think that what we can do is utilize our reasons for why something happens to kind of use it as a benchmark for change. And so I think that is the big difference. Now, if you look in the dictionary, it doesn't really show much of a difference. A reason is a cause or an explanation for something that has happened or that somebody has done. And then that can seem so much like an excuse. An excuse is something that exists to justify, blame, or defend a fault. And this is different. This is the part that is the trigger that makes a reason better than excuse. This little piece, ready? An excuse exists to justify, blame, or defend a fault with the intention to absolve oneself of accountability. So I think a reason doesn't absolve us from that accountability. It's not pointing fingers and it's not wanting to blame someone and almost be that victim mentality. Actually, when I lost my mom, there were several really like Post-its and words all around her office. And I've said this a couple times in previous episodes if you follow along. But my sister actually ended up getting one of them tattooed all across her back. And it's called Victor, Not a Victim. She also had all kinds of different quotes and verses from the Bible and just all these like positive words because she knew that she needed to get good words in. And so the reason for that, as I say, is I think that victims sometimes will choose excuses, whereas victors will use the reasons that they are there to use it as fuel to eventually become a victor. And so I think a reason implies that the fault is recognized and accepted, but that you're going to take accountability and take a step forward. And so I think that that is the distinction, and that is why we need to use the things that we have learned about ourselves. For instance, recently, I've always known I've been ADHD, but recently I got some validation. And honestly, a lot of things that I didn't even know existed that were associated with ADHD, I've learned about rejection sensitivity dysphoria and just a lot of things that were adding to the reason as to why I am the way I am. And so this kind of really helped me. But do I allow those reasons to make it to where it's okay that I'm late all the time, or okay that I'm all disorganized, or okay that I do X, Y, or Z? And the thing is in part, yes, but in part, no, because it's also using the accountability that I have to be able to make it easier for me to do the right thing. So that is where you'll find a lot of strategies that will be in this podcast so that you can use the things that you learn about yourself. And then ultimately, the reason why you might be knocked down or why things might be hard or why you might respond to things, but that you'll be able to push past them with different ways that make it easier for you to do the things that you want to do. without feeling held down. Okay, so a reason leaves some intention to pivot, and I feel like that is the way to not stay down. Like, it's okay, everyone gets knocked down, but those steps that you take to get back up, the self-awareness you have that, like, I'm in this space and I need to pivot and move on. Okay, so what do you do? So what do you do when you feel like you are, honestly, where I am right now, is I think, for me, is you have some gratitude. And I know this is something that can seem so woo, and if you're like me, you like tactical things, and so I've never been one that could meditate, and I recently just heard someone explain a meditation, and it was finally something that my brain could wrap it around. And what it did is he said that attribute a color to all the good things, okay? And so think of that color right now, and then breathe in that color, and then attribute a color to all the negative things, and breathe out that color. I'm really curious what colors you picked. I picked purple for the good, and I picked red for the bad. My husband, I thought it was interesting. He picked blue for the good and black for the bad. Let me know what colors you picked, because I'm really, really intrigued. I'm also intrigued because I also learned on TikTok recently, of all places, that many people can't see color, like, in their mind. So super interesting stuff, and again, a swirl moment here. But I want you to focus on gratitude and take a breath in to breathe in and slow down, obviously, and also to have something for you to focus on, because I can't, like, not focus on something. That's the hard part about meditation for me. And then breathe out the bad. And then the next step of this was to think about the things only in your room that you are right now, and thinking about all the things that you were thankful for in that room. Maybe it's your house, maybe it's your heat, maybe it's that you are healthy, maybe it's the person next to you snoring, whatever it is that is right there. And then gradually make that bigger and bigger, your kids' rooms, like thinking about their health and their, all the, things that you have, your clothes, all of these things that you are thankful for. And so it's kind of, I think, very grounding. And so gratitude also, if that's not helpful, if you cannot meditate, or you're someone that's telling yourself you can't meditate, then start writing down the things you are grateful for. Also, stop blaming others. And so it can be really easy to point fingers and to kind of push all of your junk on other people. And so try to not do that. And also, I want you to do, and this is something I've had to remind myself just today, if you are in this funk, in this negative place, sometimes it has to get out, and I get that. Because we don't want to attribute words to a ton of it, but vent once, ideally to just one person. Don't spread the muck everywhere. And then let the negative dialogue stop. Because what's happening is acknowledge, gain self-awareness that you are being an energy vampire to that person, and leave it and move on. And so I actually did that today. I felt myself just like not being this and you don't have to be positive all the time. I'm not telling you that always. All your emotions are valid, and you should feel all of them, even the bad ones. And so if you need to express it and get it out to one person, though, not to everybody. Maybe apologize to that person after you just dumped on them, but gain the self-awareness to know what you need to do next, which for me is back to basics. Put your shoes on, get out in green space, maybe get into some sunlight, maybe put positive words in. This is the biggest one for me. I have to go and put some positive words in. Maybe for you, that is some worship music. Maybe it is reading your Bible. Maybe it is listen to a podcast. Maybe it can be that go-to book that you have on your Audible that can help to get you some positive words in. Maybe it's even just a talk with a friend. I love Voxer, so I will go on a walk and I will talk to different groups of friends that I have these messages with, and that can be super helpful. But you want to start just by starting, like one little thing. And so it could even be as simple as drinking water, having a healthy breakfast, stacking these little things, getting back to habits that serve you. And I do know the reason, or one of the reasons why I am derailed, is that I'm in low energy for cycle syncing. I just got back from vacation, so my habits are all thrown out of whack. Also, my habits are thrown out of whack because Thea also is kind of fighting me to go into quote unquote play school, aka the gym. And that battle of getting her to go in quietly and like not have a fight is like stirring up anxiety in me and making it to where it's not as fun, right? Because we got to make it easy to do these good habits, make it satisfying. And that part, it's almost like, is it worth it? Should I just go walk around the block later? But the thing is it's acknowledging that these things, these reasons are reasons, and so that they don't turn into excuses. Because whenever it's a reason, you can pivot and still take responsibility for it and use that to hold yourself accountable for change. And so I hope this is helpful for you so that you can break free from your excuses. And honestly, I want to leave you on a note of letting you give you some encouragement that whenever someone is telling you to have gratitude or to be positive or to like get back to basics and all that, there have been times in my life where like I could not make myself care enough to do XYZ. Like I was just feeling really low. And so what I want you to do is pick the smallest little task and let that be weighted in a way that will matter. And so it doesn't have to be this grandiose thing. It's like one little thing that can then turn into another little thing, and then another little thing. And then eventually you will see these differences happen. And so I'm wishing you joy and abundance. I want to know what you guys are going through. And I want to also leave you with this. When you are at your low, when you're fatigued, when your energy is down and you are feeling like just this wave of maybe sadness and grief, or maybe it's feeling, maybe you're in an uncomfortable stage because you are trying to push through all these limiting beliefs that are holding you down. That is exactly when you need to practice gratitude. That is exactly when you need to kind of acknowledge your strengths, acknowledge what you have, like notice what you do, like give yourself credit for all of those little things that you do that you are just that you are taking for granted, or that are just like your ordinary things you do that like, oh, well, like everyone does that. No, you give yourself credit for all those little things and you keep promises to yourself. Maybe also alone time. I forgot that one, but I hope this is helpful for you guys. And I want you to know that sometimes we are our worst critic and change is uncomfortable, and it's the stretching and all that. And it's normal to be down. It is totally normal to not always be okay. And I hope that you will use this to help you break free from excuses and acknowledge the reasons so that you can push through and get that breakthrough that is on the other side of that. All right, let's connect over on Instagram at Control the Chaos Mama. I'm excited to see what you guys are doing, and I hope that this gives you some encouragement. And until next week, we are going to be talking all about breaking through money mindset blocks. I'm really excited for this part of the Break Free series. It's actually going to be a 2-part. One of them is going to be an interview with the Destiny Tillery, and she has helped my business so much, and I'm so excited to help you guys, for her to help you with your money mindset blocks. And then I'm going to show you some things that I have used to help rewrite my money blocks with money in terms of back office organization. If you are looking for a couple different episodes on money, I want you also to get in my DMs and let me know what are your money mindset blocks right now, so that I can also maybe even add in a third one to the series, because I know this is something that so many of us have self-limiting beliefs around. So, all right, let's go.